Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous videos, what we were talking about is we had to be careful because of the fact that we could potentially still be within a fourth wave here. And what we were looking for was the possibility that if this fourth wave looks to break down, we could still look to push down towards this 0803 to this 0665. Now we were discussing two options here. So we're looking at the potential that either this is going to be a fourth wave like this, where we have a three-wave move, still looking for an additional push to the upside here before looking for this breakdown. Or alternatively, what we could have here is that this move could be developing as a triangle. Now, within this idea of a triangle, what we were saying is that we could actually see this play out in this way. So this has actually continued to follow this count quite well. So what I'm looking for here is that potentially this could be A, B, C, D, and what we could be looking for here is this completion of an E wave. Now we have come up into the most common rejection area here, which would be this 0.618. Now what I want to see here is that if this is going to look to break down, we should be looking for 5-wave structure to the downside, and it needs to take out this B wave low. One thing we do have to be cautious, however, of is that sometimes within these triangles, what we can have is that they can fool us, and instead of this being the first leg of the triangle, what we can have is that this is actually our A wave, and then we get this as A, B, C, D, and E, and then we look to actually push to the upside. So we need to be careful that this is not a B wave triangle. Confirmation of this would only come by seeing a 5-wave move below this point. Until we actually get that, what I'm being cautious of is if this triangle is the other way around, this could actually be our D wave, and we could just be looking for a 3-wave move down for an E wave before looking for this push to the upside. Now the idea with this would actually be that this becomes A, B, and C, and what we'd be looking for as a potential target would actually be, if I throw this fib onto this level over here, we throw this over onto the 1-to-1, would be this 1744. Now within the bigger idea here, this would be a lot higher than we would be typically expecting here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this level here of this 1475, that if we are looking at this as a triangle the other way around, we could still see a push to the upside. Now, if we do start to push up into these higher zones, invalidation of this being a fourth wave comes by pushing up past this 1785 and would actually indicate something else is going on. So if we do see this as a bigger A, B, and a C pattern, and we do look to push up past that 1785, this would actually invalidate this idea of this final fifth wave to the downside here. And what this could then mean is that potentially this move is actually completed into this low here, and we're looking to form other corrective structure to the upside. The key thing within this is if we have a triangle in the middle, this cannot become 1, 2, unless we form something like a diagonal. So if we get this as ABC for 1, then we could start to form a contracting wedge shape pattern to the upside. But effectively, there's no way that having a triangle in here could be a wave 2. Now, if we are looking at this as this potential of a triangle here, what we could then start to see here more locally is that we could start to see price looking to break to the downside. So what I'd want to see here, if this is actually a triangle looking to break down, is something along these lines. Invalidation would be this 1191, and what I'd be looking for, like I said, is the potential that this becomes 1, 2, this would become 3, 4, and 5. Now currently our 1.618 is here towards this 1063. What could also happen though, because we have come so deep here with this wave 2, which is not very common, if this is making it less likely, I'm going to be on the lookout that if this just becomes A, B, and C, and we just get a push down towards this 1109, this could also indicate that either this is just that E wave, like I said, and we look to push to the upside, or alternatively, this is part of a corrective structure over here, where we could just be looking at a WXY. So we're going to go over that idea as well. For confirmation that this is going to be a breakdown, I don't want to see us move past this 1191, and what I want to see here is either we break down directly here to this 1618, or we form another 1 and a 2 here, and then we look to break to the downside, in which case it would become more likely then that we're going to see this 2.618 get hit with this wave 3 instead of this 1.618. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that idea. The bigger time frame idea here is still, if we're looking at this bearish scenario, that we are looking for a push down towards this zone of this 803 to the 665. So if we do form a 5-wave move like this, we have to watch the retracement. If we get 3 waves back up, this could align with the idea that we start to see a bigger 5-wave pattern developing to the downside. Now, our bullish count is saying that we could still have this as a push to the upside. What we're saying is that this could be A, and then like I said, this could potentially be a B wave triangle here, and then we look to push up for this C wave. Now, if we do see a push up like this could still align with the idea of this being a fourth wave, as long as we don't hit that invalidation. If we do see this price start to push up into these zones and we look to move up here, I will be keeping an eye on this 1744 as a 1-to-1 level, like I said, off of this low over here. Alternatively, the other count over here is using this low here and saying that that 1-to-1 would be here at the 1611. If it's a triangle, I'd be focusing in on this 1744, which would align quite nicely with this high over here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, it is also possible that we could argue that this is a W, an X, and a Y. And what we could have is that this is actually just a W wave here. We have this as an X, and we could just be looking at this as a three-wave pattern here, as an A, B, and a C. Now, the problem that I have with this count currently is I was looking for the potential of seeing a C wave, and we need to see this move up to at least this 1357. Other common targets here for this as a Y wave would be this 1609, and then we also do have some levels here at this 854 and the 786, but I would be looking either towards this 1-to-1 or this 618 level. Now, if we do look to push up here for the C wave, what I would be looking for is the potential that this makes a 5-wave structure. The only way I can see this currently is that we could be looking to form something along these lines, where this whole move is actually looking to form a diagonal pattern. Now, if we look to form a diagonal pattern here, where this becomes 1, 2, we get this as 3, 4, and 5. What we'd be looking for effectively would be 3-wave structure. So I'd be looking at this as A, B, and C. And if we do see this move come down towards that 1-to-1, like I said here at this 1109, which would be looking to just sweep this level over here. If we just see 3 waves back to the upside and this move doesn't push past this 1252, we could potentially start looking at this idea of forming a contracting wedge shape pattern here, where we could see price just bounce around in this area here before looking to break down. Now, the key thing within this is if this is just going to be A, B, and C, we could then look to actually move to the downside from this point, still looking at this as a 4th wave. So the triangle hasn't confirmed itself yet, so we need to just wait and see what happens with that. If we start to push up higher than this 1252, this would then indicate that there's potentially extension going in here, or like I said, that is a triangle E wave here, and then we need to start our count to the upside from this point. Now, if we are looking at this as a diagonal pattern, and we do continue to form this in this way, where this becomes 1, 2, we get 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up for 5, and we continue to hold the structure that we've got. If we complete this and we fail to actually break down past the low, what we need to be careful of is extension, where this could actually become 1, 2, and then we could look for this to actually develop as a 5-wave structure to the upside. So it's going to be key here. As long as we hold this 1045, we do have potential here to still find support lower down here, in which case we could look to rally, but the likelihood is starting to become less and less now the longer that this takes to play out. Now, within the idea of this looking for a breakout, what we previously discussed is that this could be 1, 2 into here, and then we were saying that we need to see a move up towards this 2126 level for this to confirm. Now, once again, within the secondary count here, what we were talking about is that this could be 1, 2 here, and then we could be looking for this possibility of a break to the upside. 1436 was the target we're looking for. Now, it is possible internally here, this could look to start extending out, where this becomes a series of 1s and 2s. We're going to discuss that in a second, but what we need to see is at least a move up towards this 1618 level. If we fail to hit that, what we could also have here is that this whole move is just a corrective structure here. We form something like this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a diagonal, find support again above this low, and then look for this 3rd wave to look to play out. So this is looking for this idea of a bigger break to the upside, but until we actually get a push up into those higher levels that we discussed, you know, this area here of this 2126, this move is actually looking more likely to be corrective. So it is possible that this could look to break out here, but we need to see whether it continues to hold the structure. Now, more locally here, what we could see is that this move could be something like this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and then we could look to start to push up in a bigger 5-wave structure. The problem that I have with this is this wave 2 over here would be substantially bigger than this one over here, and actually this one over here would also be bigger than this one within here. The only other way we could get around it is we'd have to say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've had an extension and a fifth wave of the wave 1, in which case this would still allow for that idea of this being a wave 2. Now the key thing here is that if we're going to look for this as a breakout from that point, we can't lose this low. And what we'd be looking for effectively would be to see this 3-wave move complete and then see a 1.618 push to the upside. So given the current structure here, what we'd be talking about would be a move at least up to this 1375. If we do see price starting to push up in a more impulsive way here, where this becomes 1, 2, and we get a push up towards this 1618 level, we get a fourth and a fifth, this would then start tying into that other count here, where we could be looking at this, looking to break out. But ideally, like I said, we need to hit this 1436 if we're going to look at this as 1, 2. We need to see this push up to at least this 1436 here to confirm that idea of the wave 3. Otherwise, it is looking more likely that we're going to see that continuation down. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we've actually broken to the downside and lost these central lines. Now we have already hit this S1 target. If we look to push down slightly lower, we do have this 1117 as our S2 target, which would align with coming back into these levels. If we start to lose that zone, we do have potential to find support at this 1090 and this 1071. If we do see price moving back to the upside here, I will be watching out for the potential of a retest of this 1166 to this 1156. If we see price do something like this, 3 waves up, reject off this area, we could potentially look for continuation down. If however we just see price push down into this level and we start to reclaim these central lines, what I'll be on the lookout for is the possibility to test this 1178. We have this 1205, 1221 and 1249 as potential upside targets for today. Now moving over and having a look at the weekly pivots, what we can see here is that we have printed a higher weekly CPR. We are, however, currently losing these lines. Now, if we do see this looking to trend, I would not like to see us lose this 1096. If we start to lose this 1096 level, this starts to become less likely that we're going to see this continuation to the upside. If, however, we just see this play out as a bigger ABC, we see one more push to the downside and we look to potentially test this lower target of this 1097. This could then align with the idea that we could see a reversal, though as long as we remain below these, we need to be careful because we could find resistance at this 1131, 1144 and this 1157 this week. If we do see price looking to push back up here and continue to reject down, this would align with the idea that we could be looking for that bigger breakdown potential starting to unfold. If we do see price get back above these central lines this week, we have potential to test out this 1216 at 1265 and this 1335 as potential upside targets for this week. So this would align kind of with the idea of this developing as something like a diagonal pattern. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these higher levels here if we do continue to push to the upside. Now, if we do look at the monthly CPRs, what we can see is we're currently right in the middle of these. We have found support here, we've broken above, failed to find support higher up, and now we're coming back into these lines. So this 1120 is going to be an interesting zone to keep an eye on. If we do see price just move back down here, need to be aware there is that possibility of this being a 3-wave structure here, and then we could look for a push to the upside. If we are looking for a push to the upside, targets for this month is this 1260, we have this 1420 and this 1538. Otherwise, if we start to lose these central lines and these turn into resistance, we could see price be gravitated towards us at 0983, 0866, and then lower down here we have this 0703 as potential downside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.